Welcome to Anything You Want, your home for the most emotional, human, and unforgettable stories from the world of Turkish celebrities. Before we dive into today's heart-wrenching story, make sure to like this video, subscribe, and if you'd like to help us continue sharing these deeply moving stories, click the join button to support our channel. Your engagement truly keeps this community alive. For years, audiences have known Sila Turkoglu as a symbol of composure, the actress who never lets the storms of fame break her calm. Yet, what unfolded recently behind the scenes has left even her most loyal admirers shaken. No one was prepared to see her like this, broken, silent, and caught in the grip of unbearable sorrow. The devastating news arrived in an ordinary moment, during what should have been just another professional day. According to witnesses, everything changed the instant Sila glanced down at her phone. A single message, short, urgent, and cryptic, was enough to drain all color from her face. Those nearby describe how her hands trembled as she read the text. Her eyes lost focus, her breathing quickened. A few seconds of stunned stillness, then the realization struck everyone around her. Something terrible had happened. No cameras were rolling, but the memory of that moment will never fade from those who witnessed it. The actress, usually so guarded about her private life, crumbled. Covering her face with both hands, she tried to muffle the sobs that escaped from somewhere deep inside, the kind of sound that only grief can summon. When one of her assistants timidly approached, Sila's response was barely audible. "Please, just give me a moment." She stepped away slowly, leaning against a nearby wall as if her entire body could no longer bear its own weight. Those few minutes felt eternal. Then came a decision, a call for someone she trusted completely. The name mentioned surprised no one: Halil Ibrahim Ceyhan. Sources confirm that Halil, upon hearing what had happened, didn't hesitate for a second. Without asking for details, without waiting for instructions, he simply dropped everything and went to her. There were no reporters waiting for him, no lights or red carpets, just quiet urgency. Witnesses say that when he arrived, words became unnecessary. He walked toward her slowly, extended a trembling hand, and placed it gently on her shoulder. That simple gesture shattered the last of her composure. In that moment, Sila, who had fought so hard to stand tall, finally collapsed into his arms. It was not a scene of passion or publicity, it was the raw, wordless language of two people who understood pain. Onlookers say that for several long minutes, there was nothing but silence. It was as if she had broken from the inside, one witness later told the press. Halil whispered something in her ear, something no one could hear, and led her to a private room away from the chaos. He blocked the cameras, refused questions, and shielded her from the world. When news of this emotional moment leaked, social media ignited with an outpouring of compassion. Within hours, hashtags like #StayStrongSila and #WhereWithYouSila trended across platforms. Fans shared their heartbreak. "She gave us joy through her roles, and now we must send her strength. No one should face such pain alone. Even heroes fall sometimes." Old clips resurfaced, interviews in which Sila spoke of loss and her fear of being separated from loved ones. Fans replayed those moments, realizing they had never heard her words with such painful clarity. The identity of the deceased remains a guarded secret. Some claim it was a beloved mentor from her early career, others whisper it might have been a family figure not bound by blood but by love. What everyone agrees on is that the blow was devastating, a wound that cut straight to her heart. Close friends revealed that she immediately canceled all work obligations and left for the funeral, determined to grieve away from flashing lights. "She's not chasing headlines or sympathy," said a confidant. "She just wants to say goodbye in peace." At this point in our story, let's take a breath. Moments like these remind us why human stories matter. They connect us through shared emotion. If you're watching this, don't forget to like this video to show support for Seela, and subscribe to Anything You Want for more stories that go beyond gossip and touch the heart. What happened next was something that words can hardly capture. A few days after the tragic news, a single blurry photograph began circulating online. It showed Seela Turkoglu, dressed entirely in black, a scarf pulled over her hair, walking slowly toward a small rural cemetery. Beside her was none other than Halil Ibrahim Seyhan. There were no crowds, no reporters, no stylists, just two people walking side by side through grief. The funeral took place in a remote village far from Istanbul, surrounded by silence and unspoken reverence. According to those who were there, Seela could barely stand. Her fingers trembled as she placed a single white flower on the coffin. Her lips moved, perhaps in prayer, but no words emerged. When her knees seemed to give way, Halil stepped forward again, not as an actor, not as a public figure, but simply as a man who refused to let her face her pain alone. He placed both hands gently on her shoulders. She did not turn to look at him. Instead, she tilted her head slightly toward his touch, a tiny, almost invisible gesture that spoke volumes. She didn't need strength. She needed presence. After the ceremony, as mourners drifted away, Halil remained at the grave, silent and motionless. His eyes were red, his expression hollowed by empathy. Then, Seela returned. She stood beside him, took his hand, and interlaced her fingers with his. No one knows if they spoke, perhaps they didn't need to. Those who witnessed it said it was one of the most intimate, human scenes they had ever seen, two souls sharing grief in perfect silence. Following the burial, Seela withdrew to a small family home near the cemetery. Halil stayed as well, choosing not to return to Istanbul. Locals later described how he visited the grave each morning before sunrise, always alone, carrying a candle even when the rain fell in sheets. An elderly woman from the village, moved by the sight, reportedly said, "Not all men stay when the pain isn't theirs. This one did." Meanwhile, the entire country seemed to hold its breath. The media, unusually respectful, refrained from publishing invasive photos. Yet social media remained ablaze with emotion. Fans across Turkey, and beyond, posted candlelit photos tagged #LightForSeela, creating a virtual vigil that turned mourning into a collective embrace. Messages poured in. "She made us believe in love through her characters, now we stand with her in real life. May peace find her heart. A light for Seela, from every home that admires her." The story of Seela Turkoglu's grief is not just about loss, it's about the quiet strength found in human connection. It's about the moment when fame disappears, cameras fade, and what remains is compassion, raw and unfiltered. As we close this story, we want to remind you, real life, even for stars, isn't scripted. Behind every smile is a fragile heart that beats and breaks just like ours. Let's send love, not judgment. If you felt moved by this story, like this video, subscribe to Anything You Want, and tap the join button to help us continue bringing you the stories that remind us all of our shared humanity. Comment below, how did this story make you feel? What would you say to Seela if you could send her one message of comfort? Until next time, keep your hearts kind and your thoughts gentle. This is Anything You Want, where stories meet emotion, and every voice matters.